Her name was Evelyn Carter, and for most of her life, she had learned how to disappear. Evelyn grew up in a small Ohio town, the middle child of 5. Her father worked nights at a steel plant, her mother cleaned houses. Money was always tight, but pride was tighter. Evelyn learned early not to ask for much. Not to complain. Not to take up space. At 16, while other girls dreamed loudly about the future, Evelyn dreamed quietly. She wanted to be a teacher. Not for the salary, not for recognition, but because books had saved her when life felt too heavy. She believed words could do that for others too. She worked part-time, earned scholarships, and became an elementary school teacher in the Cleveland public school system. For 23 years, she showed up early, stayed late, and spent her own money on supplies. She noticed the quiet kids. The hungry ones. The angry ones. She listened when no one else did. But life, as it often does, tested her kindness. Her husband, Mark, died suddenly from a heart condition when Evelyn was 42. No warning. No goodbye. Just a phone call in the middle of the night and a silence that never fully left. Their son, Daniel, was 14 at the time. Evelyn held herself together for him. She worked longer hours, took on tutoring jobs, and smiled when she felt like collapsing. Daniel grew into a good young man, kind, respectful, hardworking. He was the light that kept her moving. Then, 2 years ago, Evelyn got sick. At first, it was just fatigue. Then pain. Then a diagnosis that changed everything, an autoimmune condition that slowly stole her strength. Teaching became harder. Standing all day felt like climbing a mountain. Eventually, she had to resign. That decision broke her more than the illness. Without her income, savings drained fast. Medical bills piled up. Daniel took a job while attending community college, insisting on helping. Evelyn hated that her son had to grow up faster because of her. And now, on this cold Tuesday morning, she stood in line at the assistant's office, not because she wanted to, but because she had no other choice. The woman behind the counter, Melissa, had been working there for years. She was exhausted, understaffed, and running on coffee and routine. People blurred together. Faces became forms. Stories became numbers. Next, Melissa called out, not looking up. The man in front of Evelyn stepped forward, already arguing about missing paperwork. Evelyn waited. The line moved slowly. Voices grew louder. Someone cursed. Someone laughed sarcastically. Finally, it was her turn. Next, Melissa said again, still typing. Evelyn stepped forward quietly. ID, Melissa said flatly. Evelyn handed it over with both hands. Melissa glanced at the screen, frowning. You're missing documentation for income verification. Evelyn nodded. I understand. I brought what I could. My last employer. You'll need the full form, Melissa interrupted. Otherwise, you'll have to come back. Evelyn hesitated. I did call. They said. I can't process this without it, Melissa said, already sliding the papers back. Next person, please. The man behind Evelyn scoffed. Some people don't know how to follow instructions. The woman with the cart sighed dramatically. Evelyn felt her cheeks burn. Her hands trembled slightly as she gathered her papers. She could have argued. She could have explained. She could have raised her voice like everyone else. But she didn't. She took a breath. And then, softly, but clearly, she spoke one sentence. I taught your daughter to read. The room went quiet. Melissa froze. Slowly, she looked up. Excuse me, she asked. Evelyn met her eyes for the first time. There was no anger there. No accusation. Just truth. Your daughter, Lily, Evelyn continued gently. Second grade. She struggled at first. We stayed after school together. She loved chapter books by the end of the year. Melissa's face drained of color. My daughter, she whispered. Yes, Evelyn said. You brought her in once when she had the flu. You apologized for being late. Melissa stared at her, stunned. Memories flooded back, parent-teacher meetings, handwritten notes, a woman who stayed patient with her child when others had given up. You're Ms. Carter? Melissa asked, her voice cracking. Evelyn nodded. The security guard shifted uncomfortably. The line behind her went silent. Melissa stood up. I didn't realize, she said, swallowing hard. Please, sit down. Let me look at this again. Evelyn shook her head gently. I don't want special treatment. I just wanted to explain. Melissa's eyes filled with tears. You already gave my daughter something priceless, she said softly. The least I can do is listen. What happened next changed more than just paperwork. Melissa personally called Evelyn's former school district. She found the missing documents. She expedited the process. She apologized, sincerely. But more than that, she talked to her. She listened. So did others. The woman with the cart wiped her eyes. The man who had scoffed looked at the floor. Someone in the back whispered, "That's my kid's old teacher." By the time Evelyn left the building, she didn't feel invisible anymore. A week later, Evelyn received her assistant's approval. A month later, a former colleague helped her find part-time remote tutoring work, something she could do from home. But the biggest change wasn't financial. It was this. People began seeing her again. Former students reached out. Parents wrote messages of gratitude. One message stood out from a college student who wrote, "You were the first adult who believed I wasn't stupid." I never forgot that. Evelyn cried when she read it. Not from sadness. From meaning. And here's the truth this story leaves us with. The quietest people often carry the heaviest stories. The ones ignored in line might have once held others together. And sometimes, all it takes is one sentence to remind the world who someone really is. If this story moved you, even a little, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Stories like Evelyn's deserve to be heard, and your support helps us share more real, inspiring moments that restore faith in humanity. Because kindness doesn't always shout. Sometimes it waits quietly in line.